So again, we did this in the first part of the video, so make sure you really did pay close attention to that so you know what your nail should look like. At this point, I would go on with the Mia Secret, the Extra Bond Primer. But of course, I'm not going to do that as a practice finger. But at this point, I would go ahead and go in because the primer would be fresh. You want to make sure whenever you're applying your acrylic, it's fresh. You get the best adhesion. Okay. And then again, I'm just using the Mia Secret monomer, and I keep it in a little liquid bottle like this, and I just have it labeled because I have different acrylic systems and different monomers. So yeah. Alright, so real quick, I'm going to show you. I have my liquid here. I'm using a number 12, the size 12 brush from Pana for today. Right? So real quick, I'm going to show you what the different zones are. Zone 1, Zone 2, and all this back here be Zone 3. Okay? And so essentially, and again, if you remember me saying about with your brush, you want to make sure you have enough liquid, right? So clearly this is too much. You can see the liquid is dripping just like right out of the brush. This is like overly saturated with liquid here. Which I'm sure you all can see, like just how wet that brush is. You don't want your brush that wet. It's too wet. So again, the way to prep your brush is you're going to burp it, right? And you're going to just add liquid and release the liquid a couple of times in and out of your brush. Okay. So my brush is fairly saturated now, which is good. And I'm just going to drain some liquid. And I only want to drain from one side, never from both sides when you're going to pick up a bead. And then bring my powder over here. I'm going to show you guys. Again, the method is to just tap, 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 tap. Remember the tapping motion. Okay, just remember that. But anyway, like I said, and you want to go in at a 90-degree angle. So sometimes if you have to prop your powder up, do that by all means. Like, prop the powder up. Okay. And I'm just going to tap, tap, tap to get a fairly larger bead just to cover this portion of the nail. Okay, letting it sit there for a minute, and then I'm just going to come in and pat the bead around like so. Just patting it down. I'm never brushing it down. As you can see, I'm never brushing the bead down, just patting it down. Well, I'm brushing it down now, but I'm really not even brushing it. I'm really patting it down. The nail. And now I am brushing it down just to finish dispersing the product. And then I will just come in and brush up from time to time. And make sure you always wipe your brush keep your brush clean while you're doing this. And then just because I feel like I do need a little bit more, I'm just going to get a small bead like that and then just place it at the tip right here. Simply because I felt like I didn't have enough acrylic down here. And then again, I'm just going to pat along the side. Wipe along the side, I mean. Just to ensure that I keep my shape as I'm doing this. Okay. All right, so now at this point, I'm going to do my cuticle bead just a little bit at the back. And make sure this bead is a little bit wetter so when you set it down, it's not like super dry and you can still do what you need to do. So with the cuticle bead, I'm not setting it right at the cuticle. That's what you don't want to do. I'm going to go ahead and maneuver it. I'm going to take the acrylic and I'm going to push it right in there. And you see how easy I can maneuver this bead? Like so. I don't want it to run down too quick. And again, your cuticle bead should not be like big old hump back here. But as you can see, I have made it where I can just pack this in ever so lightly. And you see how I already have an apex right there? My apex is already formed right in there. Okay? That's what you want. You want to be able to make it really easy for yourself. Okay? And then now what we're going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to, because you see you have this right here and right over here where it's not completely filled in. You want to go ahead and go in and fill it in. Because now what we can do is take, I'm sorry guys, now we can take a bead. I want to drain it a little bit. And we can set it down right here, right? And I'm going to take it, I'm going to pat it in. I'm not going to brush it anywhere yet, I'm just patting it in right now. Okay? And I'm going to brush it upward, just like so. Okay, and I'm just again patting it down and brushing it down to fade it into the other two beads fairly quickly. And now, so I kind of have something like this, which really I waited too long to move this, you guys. I feel like I always make stuff so hard on myself when I'm trying to do these demos for you all. But it's okay, it happens. Or you may be in this area and don't know how to fix it, right? And you think you just messed up. But you didn't, it's okay. You can always add more acrylic. And what I would do at this point would be take a small bead real quick, right here, and just blend it down, and then blend it back up into here, just to conceal the fact that I had a little boo-boo or a mess up right here. It's fairly simple. And it doesn't look bad at all. Now again, you're going to need to add some right here to thicken up your tip. When you have really long nails, you can't really do like a 3 bead or 1 bead method per se, because you know gravity isn't always your friend with long nails, especially when they're like extendos. Yeah, you're going to be doing a lot of acrylic, so, which is fine. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. You want to make sure you give your client the best structure you can possibly offer them to ensure that their natural nails stay healthy and they don't get damaged, and then also that your product you have a good longevity for your nails. Okay, and that basically is the C-curve nail right here. Now I did notice that I do have a little bit of an issue right here. I don't know if y'all can see that. Yeah, right, like just right there. I'm gonna just add a little bit of acrylic. Let it sit there for a second, right? You don't want to move it too fast. I'm just gonna pat it in and then just brush it down and up as needed. And then again, I may just like turn the client's finger over and just really look at everything underneath and do any necessary fixing. But just like that, the nail's done. You have the apex here. You have a good structure. The nail's not like dumb thin. And you're done. And of course, this is with a C-curve tip. This is kind of what you would get with a sculptured nail. Now, I have seen people make their apex a little bit thicker. Personally, you really can. Probably with this nail, if I were to make it thicker, I may run into a little bit of trouble, but I'm going to show you kind of what I mean by that. So I'm getting a bead. And I'm just going to release the product down. And I know you all see this, right? So, and do a little bit more liquid. Okay. Being up a little bit more liquid, I'm going to show you how to fix this. If this is you. Gonna grab a bit bigger bead of acrylic. Take it up here. Fix any issues or mistakes that I'm having right now. Right? I'm going to again push the acrylic back up the nail. This is really an important technique. Is you want to let gravity really do the work for you, but not to the point where you lose control of the bead. So don't just hold it down, it just keeps going down the nail further and further. You want to be able to maintain the control of the bead. And what you'll find is you'll have less work when it comes to your apex if you do this correctly, because the gravity will have balanced the nail equally on all sides, which will keep you from having lumpy or like lopsided nails. So of course, you know, there's your thing there. And then now I might just take a little bit more acrylic here, which personally, again, I think this is too much acrylic, but this is what most beginners do when they're starting out. They a lot of times either use too little or too much acrylic. But in my opinion, this is just too much acrylic here. but it's okay if you do this. I wanted to do this to show beginners basically how, this is how a lot of us start out. It's probably, well, not because you really stay in the lumpy stage. You never get, some people can't figure out how to get out those, like, you know, really crazy lines that they put in the nail. But in my opinion, it's really not that hard. You just got to think about how you want the nail to look like as you're placing the acrylic, or as you're filing, or you're buffing, or you're shaping, or whatever you're doing. Just envision the nail and how you know you want it to look like in order to figure out how to achieve that and how to get there. Okay, so for now, I'm gonna say it's enough acrylic. You see how thick and like chunky that looks as compared to how it looked before? You see how you can easily just add too much acrylic? That's basically what beginners do. But I'm going to show you, if you are a beginner and you do this, how to fix it. Now, most of the times if you're doing all of that, your cuticle area probably isn't as neat as what mine is. So yeah, but I can show you how to fix all of this to make a really nice looking nail. So I'm gonna let this dry for a second. We're gonna come back and I'm gonna show you how to file it.